Mr. Malpass, neither your time nor mine will be consumed in describing the horror of the significance of other statistics. Now let's come back to the topic sentence. The revision of the hydrocarbon law is delayed. To argue and bridge with what is happening now in Algeria needs elements of history. In 10 days, we are October 2019, sorry. It will be November 1st, will be the Remembrance Day of the national freedom outbreak. And in approximately 2 months, the remembrance of the death of one of its leaders, its utopian leader, Hocine Ait Ahmed. Now, when we go back farther in the past, in 1928, 2 agreements about the oil sharing were implemented. The first one was between American, British, and French oil companies and is known as Red Line, Ligne Rouge agreement. And the second one is the Accélérée agreement in Scotland. If Hocine Ait Ahmed had worked hardly to make Algeria independent and others have badly managed its natural resources, we can induce that delaying the revision of the hydrocarbon fiscal law written by foreigners who are for sure linked to the dominating oil companies is the warning, either told during a secretive meeting or sent just by a phone call. That's why the Algerian Army Chief of Staff is urging the Algerian nation to hold the presidential election and the parliamentary assembly to enact, to promulgate this law before December 2019. If done, it will be the biggest treason, I will repeat it, if done. If this law is enacted, it will be the biggest treason to the Algerian Amazigh and Muslim spirit recovered by Hocine Ait Ahmed and all the Algerian fighters. Because the Algerian fundamental law, constitution, is illegal, if this law on oil is enacted, Algeria will relinquish much more its sovereignty and will confirm that Algeria is on sale. Now, in Algeria, innocent demonstrators and protesters, I repeat it, innocent demonstrators and protesters who are leveraged by a small group directed by the United States, England, France, European Union, and other NGOs, are participating to trigger a looming and huge military conflict in the desert of Algeria. A reminder to my compatriots and information to World Bank staff. In 2014, I have warned our compatriots to be aware to the transformation of the south of Algeria to an African Kosovo. It was in 2014. Since 2015, I started shouting to be solidary with the Algerian soldiers to keep peace and prevent any violence in Algeria, and I expressed my fully opposition to the devaluation of the Algerian money. I repeat it. I started to shout to be solidary with the Algerian soldiers to keep peace and prevent any violence. And I continue to extol them to be peaceful. and I have expressed, and I will still continue to repeat it, to shout it, my fully and totally opposition to the devaluation of the dinar, the Algerian money. Sir David Malpass, after this long introduction, let me dig deeper the pain and the harmful mood in Algeria. I agree with you that the wrecked Algerian state is also failed. I agree with you that the wrecked Algerian state is failed. But the Algerian people isn't the garbage of the humanity. The Algerian people isn't the garbage of the humanity. After that, the second version of the consensus of Washington are corporate governance, anti-corruption. Now, the first version of the Constitution of Washington applied in Algeria had produced a lot of corruption. With flexible labor markets. The labor market in Algeria is flexible because there are a lot of unemployed persons. It must be more flexible. But the ultraliberalism and the capitalism have changed the mind of the Algerian people. They cannot work in agriculture. World Trade Organization agreements, even if Algeria isn't a member of the WTO, but Algeria offers all the advantages of a WTO member, but it's endure all its drawbacks. Financial codes and standards, prudent capital account opening are going there, like in Morocco. Non-intermediate exchange rate regimes. Independent central bank inflation targeting, social safety nets, targeted poverty reduction. For the 18th, independent central banks, inflation targeting. Let's suppose a basic hypothesis. All the prices of the Algerian products are constant. Let's suppose it. It's an hypothesis. It's a basic hypothesis. Now, by devaluating the money of Algeria, we are importing inflation. So when we devaluate the Algerian money by, let's say, 33% or 37.2%, the inflation in Algeria cannot be 5.4%. It's impossible. So the central bank will, it's impossible for the central bank to target the inflation. So I cannot go into details of these ones. I'm tired by doing it. But I have just to read one sentence of Stanley Fischer about John Williamson, which brings us back to John Williamson. His approach to economics is deceptively simple. He believes in economics, and he believes in applying it. His approach to economics is deceptively simple. He believes in economics and believes in applying it. If I become the president of Algeria, the first decision I will over-evaluate, I will order an immediate overvaluation of the money. It's the first one. And the second one, it will be a bilingual national anthem in order to make the Algerian nation more coherent, more united. So, Sir David Malpass, with a huge humility and modesty, I beg you to stop the disaster, the havoc of the consensus of Washington in Algeria. I beg you, because I cannot beg the governor of the Central Bank of Algeria. He is afraid. He is the Himmler of Algeria in a white collar. So also, I extol my compatriots in Algeria to stop this demonstration in order to see better our future. I beg them to stay Amazighité. I beg them to protect the integrity of our territory. I beg them, I extol them to invite our sisters and brothers of the South to be more close to us, and we make efforts to be more closer to them. So, to the Algerian decision makers, I don't know in what are the words that I will use with you. I have used, I think, all the variety of expressions, of peaceful expressions, of love, of submission. So, stop to be afraid by the World Bank and the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. Stop to be afraid by the United States of America and England and the European Union and especially France. The November 1st is coming. Stand out and stand up.